Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining us this afternoon for the exciting announcement. We're going to showcase something new and different that some of you may or may not have either seen or heard of. And we wanted to give you a little sneak peek. So, lucky you that you get to see this today. So, we're just going to wait another minute or two, make sure everyone has the time to get in. And then I will uncover the surprise. And in the meantime, your mics and cameras are muted, um, like usual, the way that we usually do it. But then after I kind of unveil the surprise, we can unmute and allow you to turn on your cameras and give us some feedback. We'd love to hear what you're thinking and your thoughts and questions and just some, initial responses would be great. So again, welcome, welcome. Glad to see you all joining. I think we had 12 registered today. And I see that we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in already. Okay. So you could tell I'm on my phone because I'm going to be unveiling something by walking into it. Little sneak peek there. So again, we'll just wait another minute or two and then I will uncover the surprise. Thanks for joining. All right, we're going to get started. I am going to flip my camera around because there's only so much of my face I'm sure you would like to see. But I don't know if anybody recognizes this hallway, but we are in the Farber building by the conference rooms 1B, 1C, and 1D. And if you have been down here, you may have seen some commotion and some changes going on in conference room 1B. But if you're not in this building, this is going to be nice for you to see as well. This is going to be our new professional development training lab. It's a traditional training computer lab when it comes to, in the traditional sense, using a computer to do a training. But the layout and the feel and the model that we went with is very new and innovative. So here it is. We hope you love it. To start off, you'll see here that we have these new room controllers that really give you a nice, quick, and easy view. As you walk through the hallway, you'll know if the room is booked or not, just by the color of the light that is surrounding the panel. And if the room is not booked and you want to book the room, you actually have the ability to do that right here on the panel. So this is a great upgrade and great change, not only for the conference room 1B, but also for all the conference rooms in Farber.
I think you should book it now.
Ooh, so I'm going to book it now. Thanks. So I would hit reserve. And then I'm going to choose an end time because right now I'm starting an ad hoc meeting, which means that they are assuming I'm starting at the moment. So I will choose an end time at 1 o'clock and then reserve.
And so that those of you that are on from the Lipinski Center, there are similar devices right now at the Lipinski Center called Room Wizards. Those are going to be replaced with these exact same devices. I actually have them in my office. They've yet to be shipped over there, and but they will work similarly, but have some increased flexibility and functionality in and above what those Room Wizards have now. But anyone in Farber or anyone at Lipinski, anytime you want to book a room, whether or not you book it through Outlook or not, the room scheduler that you see in front of you will pick up on those reservations and will change the color of the light and show the schedule directly on the display for the day for anyone that may be walking by or want to reserve the room for later on.
So now that this room has been booked, you can see that the light changed to purple, whereas the others are green because those rooms are available. All right, so here we go. I'm going to cover my camera real quick and we're going to take a walk into the room. And voila. So welcome to the new Computer Professional Development Training Lab here in Conference Room 1B in Farber. We are still tweaking and setting up, so you'll still see some boxes and wires, but those eventually will go away. And this room is going to be available for all your training professional development needs. And my trainings, my webinars will all take place in this room as well. You'll see here that we have six seats at each table that will be available to be used. They are touchscreen monitors with wireless mice and keyboards. So we have that table and as well this table. Each table has their own monitor. So sessions can be going on individually, but sessions can also be going on collaboratively across the room. We also have 2 extra seats for people that want to come in and join with their laptop. So we have these great seats, which are one of my favorite parts of the room. Like your own little independent space. And we kind of really wanted to make sure that we were thinking of everything to make people coming into the room who are sitting for a training very comfortable and accommodating. So we added in these charging towers so that you always have enough charging space to charge any sort of device that you come with. And there's a bunch of outlet spaces and ports and different types of plugs, USB, USB-C, USB,
A.
USB
A.
A. I was forgetting that last letter. And we also have those charging ports at the desktops as well, in between each station. So there's 2 computers and then a charging station right in between. So again, anybody sitting at the desks also has the ability to charge any device that they need to charge. Each side of the room comes with 2 whiteboards adjacent to the monitor. And then the front monitor has one large whiteboard to the left of it. And this would be the teacher station or the trainer station. So this is the large front room monitor. And the goal of this room is to be a hybrid learning space. What that means is that whether you are in person in one of the seats available in the room, which is at this point 14 seats, or joining us virtually, which are unlimited seats. So if you join using a Teams link, you would be able to join a training session from wherever you are. So this room really allows for a ton of flexibility as well as collaboration. So although we may not all be in the same room, we're going to be able to interact and work with each other and learn together. So that's the goal of this room. It's supposed to be super collaborative and very hybrid. So again, when you're either scheduling this room to use and be the trainer, you have available 14 seats to book in person and an unlimited amount of seats to book virtually. The virtual participants will be displayed on the 2 side monitors so that the participants that are in person, as well as the trainer, will be able to interact with those virtual participants as if they were in the room with us. And the front monitor, again, the goal would be for that monitor to really display content and be the space where the trainer can have displayed whatever information needs to be displayed for the training. Cliff, did I miss anything? Okay, I feel like I went through that so fast. I thought it was going to go longer.
You did, but I think one of the important pieces here is that there were 2 goals of the room. The first goal was to allow in-person professional development with also hybrid participants, so that you have an unlimited number of seats available. And then also that this room is not just available for Theresa to use, it's available and open to anyone that needs to use it, provide a training, have a meeting, whatever it may be. This isn't a space that's, confined to anyone particular using it. It's open to anyone in the organization that wants to use it. There will be a little bit of complexity in the use of the room, especially when it comes to the hybrid component of it. But we are setting that up and still configuring that so it's as easy as possible to use. We're trying to get it down to a button or two that a trainer would have to push to get the meeting or the training started. And that would basically enable all of the features that Theresa just mentioned. Obviously, the ability to share content not only in the room, but with the remote participants. All of you that have been in Teams meetings before know that a grid will be displayed of the hybrid participants on those side monitors. They have the ability to raise their hand. They have the ability to talk. They have the ability to do anything that we would normally be able to do in any remote meeting. But again, they can be fully participatory in the training itself. And that's the intent. So there will be a bunch of flexibility built into the space. One thing that Theresa didn't mention that's, I think, worthy of mentioning that we'll see how exactly it works out is that we're going to be introducing a type of camera into the space that will sit in the middle of each one of those side tables. And it is a AI-enabled camera. So artificial intelligence will essentially frame each one of these 6 participants for the remote participants in their own squares, rather than having just one kind of global view of the room, which the global view of the room would come from the camera that Theresa just showed you. But again, within the Teams meeting or Teams training for the remote participants, they would see each person independently in their own square within their meeting experience or their training experience. So that's one thing that we'll be introducing into the space. The room will also have a bunch of decals and stickers. It'll have our values as an organization on the wall. There'll be more to come on the Seed Academy stuff, but that will be something you'll hear about shortly. The room will be emblazoned with that logo on the door, etc. Those types of things. And we're hoping for it to be a relaxing, comfortable, feature-rich space to be able to deliver training and have meetings, etc. Those types of things.
I got to tell you, the chairs super comfortable. So you will definitely be happy sitting here if you have to for a few hours or even an hour and taking a training. So that's great. And also, 2 things that I just realized I didn't mention, but the monitors are on arms, so they can really be flexible and meet your needs as far as how you'd like to work. If you want the monitor screen to be closer to you, higher, lower, you have that flexibility because we put the monitors on adjustable arms. And if you're in the room doing a training that doesn't require the computers at all, our goal was to be able to push them kind of back as far as possible so that you now have as much desk space as you need to spread out and have the ability to work and train in this room without having to necessarily be on the computer. We really wanted that flexible space in all directions. And then also, lastly, that I can think of, but this is also kind of a hybrid training station desk. And I'm not going to lift it up at the moment only because there's stuff on it. But this piece actually does come up and allows for either a second trainer to put their laptop here or just stand here at the podium, and or the trainer themselves having their laptop or just standing up and training from a standing position, as well as having the ability to sit as well at the training station. So we really tried to cover all bases and think about flexible learning and collaboration in a really unique, different way. And we're hoping this room becomes kind of a model, not only to all of our buildings, but, maybe eventually the districts as well. So I think, unless Cliff, you wanted to add anything else, but otherwise I think we could open up cameras and mics and give people the opportunity to tell us how they think, what they think, how they feel, just initial thoughts. We'd love to hear.
Okay, I just enabled microphones and cameras for anyone that has any comments, any feedback. Obviously, we're trying to think about a bunch of needs and things as we know them, and what people may want. available to them within the space, but again, as an environment that's open to everyone to use for your meetings, for your trainings, etc., then certainly open to feedback, thoughts, opinions, cries of outrage, all that stuff.
Uh-oh. Did we bore everyone? What happened? Give us good feedback, please. We worked so hard on this room.
Okay. These are great. I hope Lipinski can get these gadgets soon too. Well, we're,
Yeah.
again, as we're using a technology on the back end, once we get this room fully configured, we're going to be using a very familiar to many, but Microsoft Teams has an increased level of licensing called a Microsoft Teams Room. It's actually a specific license that opens up some additional features and functionality. And what we're anticipating and hoping is that if the room is successful in its model and its use and its methodology, is that these Microsoft Teams rooms, quote unquote, with the additional license, would be something that would be extended out to the other facilities as needed based on the use cases. Mr. Jacobs, you took yourself off of mute. Wondering if you have anything to share.
Was for a hybrid meeting, where would the presenter stand?
The
I'm sorry?
presenter still stand in the front of the room for a hybrid meeting, because this would still be the trainer kind of station. The goal is, and we're still working on the full configuration, but the training station or the teacher desktop computer will have control over all 3 monitors. So it will be able to decide if the computers on the side are going to have the virtual participants, and the front monitor will have the content that's being trained on or not, right? Because also our goal is to have the room be also available to work kind of independently. In other words, you can use this side of the room maybe for one training on that monitor and this side of the room for a different training on this monitor. But in its kind of easy way to use the room, or the goal of the room is that the trainer station would be here at the front, and the trainer would be using this desktop computer to display the content.
Thank you. Looks very nice. I just had 2 naming questions. Are you going to rename 1B, or is it still going to be 1B?
It's right now currently named as, let me go back to that room controller. It's currently named as Farber Conference Room 1B at the moment.
What's the name of those devices? You said in Lipinski it's called a Room Wizard. What is it called over here?
So these are called, they're Crestron Teams panels, which is what they're called. And that is something that that'll propagate again. We're going to replace those Room Wizards at Lipinski. So one thing, Steve, so you mentioned the one thing that we're playing with, and I just turned my camera on. We are playing with the idea of some AI capable cameras. So for the teacher being in the front of the room, you'll see my camera's on right now, but you'll see if I move, that's the camera is following me. So no matter where I go, no matter what I do, this camera is going to follow me. So I have another one of these cameras that we're going to see. Once you get to a certain level of inputs with certain machines and technologies, they don't recognize them all. But one of the things, we do have one of these little AI cameras for the lab as well. And we're going to see about implementing that so that if you are a trainer and you are moving around the room, right, I'm going to stand up, right? It should follow me around no matter where I go, those types of things. And I could move around the room and the camera will follow me based on where I am. So if I'm training and I'm a remote participant, I would still be able to follow the trainer and what they're doing, their hand movements, et cetera, if they're pointing to something, those types of things.
Okay, it's great. Thank you.
Welcome. We got a lot of great feedback in the chat, so thank you all for that. Yes, Kim, charging stations were a must. That was one of the first things we had on our list for sure, to make sure that everybody felt like they had somewhere to charge their devices when they're training in the room.
Trying to think of everything. Making sure, again, the idea is that, like I see Ira's on, for example. Ira, I know you and your team do a bunch of professional development for schools as well. So if you have something like that and you wanted to do a hybrid type meeting where you find the technology we implemented in this space is maybe more conducive or more comfortable for remote as well as in-person participants, the room is available for Lipinski folks as well to use. You would obviously just have to find your way over, if you will. So, but open to everyone.
No, we appreciate that. It looks really interesting and it opens up quite a few possibilities. So thank you.
Yeah,
Yes.
we really looked at a bunch of different technologies to be able to do this, and there's a whole bunch of different technologies out there that do this type of a thing, and they range in price, as you can imagine, all the way up to like university level where they're paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to integrate a space like this. And while it's very intriguing and really feature rich, a lot of it, and some of the functionality, to be honest, we would love to have, but there's a realm of possible and there's a realm of, affordable and making something that really meets the need in a very kind of defined way without blowing the budget out. And on top of that, because we are a Microsoft shop and we do have teams, we're really just going to leverage all of the capabilities and all the functionalities that we have within that licensing that we already have. So it didn't make sense for us to scale out to these other models that really, although there are some nice functions, they're not, I want to say, required. They're kind of nice to have. We really didn't see a need for that, even though it would be on a wish list of some kind. So hopefully we'll end up with an environment that's very easy to use, very good from an experience perspective for not only those that are sitting within the space physically, but also those folks participating remotely. So that's the goal. As we go forward in this hybrid type world, obviously the ability for people not to have to leave their physical location, makes it easier for them to participate in all the various offerings that we'll have.
And I actually just remembered one last thing that we didn't share, Cliff. The main monitor on the front wall here is an 86-inch monitor, which is awesome. When you sit, no matter where you're sitting in the room, you really have a great view of whatever's on that screen. But also for the trainer's comfort and flexibility, because some of us are vertically challenged, the monitor is actually on a electric mount, so it can go down and up just by using a remote. Which is really, really helpful, and also will cut down on any sort of time of the trainer having to, reach or move or manually move an arm or a flexible mount. This really makes it quick and easy to set it kind of where the trainer feels comfortable. And then the two side monitors are on adjustable mounts, so they can come out, like pop off the wall a little bit. They can tilt, they can turn. So I can also show you that very quickly here.
So while you're doing that, Kim has a good question, I think. So in terms of booking the room, right now the rooms are available in Outlook. Once we fully propagate the Crestron system out into Lipinski as well, the units will have the ability to look for other spaces. And yes, you would be able to book another space that shows as available directly from the displays. So if you were, and the idea would be, if you're in a building and you're down at Lipinski, let's just say you're down by conference room 8 and all of a sudden that's being used or it's booked, you would be able to go on that display right in the room and look for what's available within the building. Or in another facility and say, okay, that, conference room or learning studio 3 is available. I'm going to book that. I'm going to book it right from here. And then you could book that and it'll show your booking on that display. But the primary way we envision people using it is through Outlook directly. And again, the same way it works at Lipinski, where it shows availability and things like that, would be on the displays. Going forward, Microsoft will be releasing, they keep kicking the can down the road a little bit, something called Spaces. And that will come with, again, some increased flexibility for the displays themselves. The details are a little bit murky right now in terms of what license might be required and all those other things. But Microsoft now supposedly in Q1 or Q2 of 2024, we'll be releasing what they call Microsoft Spaces, which will give us the ability for things like wayfinding, floor plans directly on the display. So in other words, instead of just, searching or having a textual display on what's available, if you're looking for another device, you would be able to actually have a floor plan brought up, look for where that room actually is, and then it would show its availability directly on the floor plan. Again, still a little bit to be determined with that. We're at the whim of Microsoft in terms of what they actually release and what they charge for versus not charge for. But that functionality, the reason why we chose Crestron was because they are one of the vendors that actually have an alignment with Microsoft and making sure that their technology aligns with the Microsoft offering. So we wanted to make sure that whatever we do is as future facing as we can possibly get, making sure that we're looking forward with the vendors as much as we possibly can to make sure that we can leverage what they release.
And just a side note for this specifically at the current moment, it cannot be booked just yet, just because we're still configuring the room. But once it's ready for booking, that will be announced, and then you will have the ability to book the room the way that you're normally comfortable booking any of the spaces. It's also the option to turn off the front lights or the back lights. I don't think I showed that one. And we also have the ability to dim lights as well. So we definitely thought of everything in here, got a little fancy to set the mood.
Right, so I think that completes the tour.
Yep.
And again, we certainly appreciate your feedback. Look forward to having you all have the ability to either participate in a training in the space or maybe offering a training of your own. Again, the idea here is ultimately when we're done with the configuration, it should be as easy as we can possibly make it to use. So you don't have to come in and worry about what configuration do I have to do? What do I have to turn on? What don't I have to turn on? How do I use this thing type of thing? We're going to make that as easy as we possibly can in the configuration. So a little bit more complex, and don't want to get too geeky on all of you, but there is something called the room controller that has to be configured and things like that. There'll be another panel on the desk that is a little LCD display that would give you the controls of the room. Those are the types of things that we're still configuring. We still have to do some audio-visual cabling. We're going to have mic pods for the desks, all those types of things to make sure that everyone can see, hear, all that other stuff in a way that, doesn't get in the way.
Speaking of seeing, just because it's a little bit hidden, but there are cameras embedded in the desktop monitors. So just so you know, it's a push down and it pops right up out of that desktop monitor there. But again, the sleek design, this is a all-in-one PC, so there's no box anywhere or tower. This monitor and PC is all in one. So again, it made it very clean and streamlined. And they thought of also not having that bulky camera out at all times and having the ability to put it away when not needed. But yeah, that's it. Thank you guys so much for joining. As always, spread the word that exciting things are happening over here, and reach out if you ever have any questions, and please register for the next webinar, which will be on September 27th.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.